Hey everybody, it's Lisa with Undermined Propaganda. It is March 6th, 2026, and day 7 of the illegal war joint effort by Israel and America on Iran. The latest reporting, one is the duration of this war, which started out being reported by the administration saying that was going to be a couple-day operation. Then it went from a couple days to a couple weeks, then from a couple weeks to 8 weeks. Then from 8 weeks to September, and then today, the latest coming out from the Trump administration is there is no time limit. Gas prices continue to rise. A barrel of oil is now over $90 a barrel, which is the fastest increase in oil prices per barrel in recorded history. So the justification for this war continues to evolve. It's layered. There's just so many different reports coming out, so many different reasons. Israel is a terrorist state. They have nuclear weapons. They have ballistic missiles. They're killing their civilian protesters. It just goes on and on. And then there's the reporting, some things that, at least from what I've read and the way I look into things and listen to the people, what has some truth to it. Hiding the Epstein files, distracting from the Epstein files, which is a horrific human civilization turning event, depending on who is involved and how deep this goes, which I don't think we have even the tip of the iceberg on the horrific things that have happened and continue to happen with the elite in our society. Another reason is to make money for the military industrial complex, which is always an issue and always a reason. Then there's this fanatical religious aspect, which I talked a little bit about in my last video, and I'm hoping to maybe make a video tomorrow, later today or tomorrow, about new reporting out of some of the religious aspects to this war, which are terrifying, end of times, insanity, fanatical reasons. All that being said, Piers Morgan has been a show I've been watching for a while now. He has different people on his panel from all different sides of issues, important issues going on. He himself, it can be extremely annoying because he has, on more than one occasion, defended Israel and framed things in a way to try to make Israel look good and make a Palestinian panelist look bad. With his, for example, "Do you condemn Hamas?" statement to a Palestinian that had just lost 100 family members that Israel slaughtered. Anyway, it's still advantageous and informative to watch. My necklace all messed up. To watch Piers, in my opinion, because you get to see some experts that you won't see in mainstream media. So yesterday he had on Emily Schrader, who is an Israeli American journalist, propagandist actually. Omar Badar, who is a Palestinian American journalist. He's phenomenal. I've read and listened to a lot of his stuff. He's excellent, moral, ethical reporter. Aaron Mate, who reports for the Gray Zone, who does a lot of great reporting on Palestine as well and Israel. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the interactions and debates on here and see how they're framing this war. First, we'll take a look here at Emily Schrader and her framing of why it's legitimate to be slaughtering civilians in Israel, or I'm sorry, in Iran, which she won't frame it slaughtering civilians. But listen to how she describes the Iranian regime, and then think about the actual factual history of Israel, what they've done and what they continue to do, and America and what it continues to do. Let's take a listen.
I think it's a bit insulting to Ukraine to compare them to the Islamic regime in Iran. This is not a democratic state, it's a terrorist state.
I'm not comparing the regimes, I'm comparing the decision-making by those that attack and the way the world responds.
Fair point. I'll give you that. But I don't think it's at all the same thing. I think it's comparing apples and oranges. I think that this is in coordination, in adherence to international law under Article 51. the UN, and I think that it's that this regime has posed a clear and present danger to U.S. troops for many, many decades. I mean, their entire ideology is built on this concept of death to America. One of their first actions that they did was to take over the U.S. embassy and hold hostages for 444 days. Now, you could say, oh, well, that was just during wartime. That was something about revolutions. No, that's something they've continued throughout that time since then. And I think more importantly, you know, you want to talk about hegemony. Look at what the Islamic Republic has done in this region. They are the expansionist power. They are the ones who are destabilizing the entire.
They are the ones that are the expansionist power. I mean, listen to that. Propaganda bullshit. Oh my God.
Region. That Islamic regime is responsible for more deaths of Arab Muslims than any other single entity or organization in the Middle East. They're responsible for Hezbollah. They're responsible for the terror proxies in Iraq. They're responsible for the destabilization and terror proxies, including building IRGC bases in Syria. They're responsible for the Houthis in Yemen and launching a terrible, bloody civil war that happened there. Of course, they're responsible for Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza that have completely destabilized Palestinian society and kept it stagnant from progressing. So
yeah, it was all the resistance forces like Hamas that destabilized Gaza. It wasn't the fact that Israel continually kept them under siege, starved them, put them on starvation diets, counted the calories in the food they sent over to keep them weak, did something that Norman Finkelstein discusses in depth called mowing the lawn, where they would periodically just kill innocent Palestinians just to keep them terrified and under control. Israel is the one who destabilizes that area of the world, along with America. Fucking liar.
So there's a lot of things on the table here, a lot of examples of how this regime has expanded their influence, and that is by design. The ideology of the Islamic Revolution, the concept of it was to export the revolution. Those are their words, not mine. And that is exactly what they have done through their terror proxies and their efforts overseas. And it's not just the Middle East either, which is something that presses, or rather makes the case for the military operation. Now, this is also in Europe. We know that the UK, for example, has been used in a way as a playground for money laundering for the IRGC. They've carried out assassinations and attempted assassinations, as well as attempted kidnappings on European citizens on European soil. And they've also done the same in the United States with the attempted kidnapping of Masih Alinejad. They've also attempted to carry out assassinations in Washington, D.C. It is not contained to the territory of Iran, and that precisely is the problem. Every action that Israel has taken has been in defense to the aggression and the attempt to eradicate the state of Israel, but also the entire West. And so this...
And the way the attempt to stoke fear, that their whole ideology is built around eradicating the entire West, so that justifies America bombing them because they want to eradicate us. This is justification for an illegal war built on lies, built on propaganda to incite fear in the public to get buy-in for this war, because they know that there are more people against it than that are for it. And they know people are not willing to watch American citizens come home in body bags. They know people aren't willing to watch our economy get even worse than it already is. So let's go ahead and watch some of Omar Badar's response to this and see how he puts her in her place.
Idea, this fantastical notion that everything they've done is somehow just in response to whatever the West has done or whatever the United States has done. It's delusional. It's absolute nonsense.
Okay, let me bring in Omar Badr. Omar, you posted this. Well, I just want to read to you something you posted, Omar. You said when it was 4 Americans have been reported dead. He said 4 Americans whose families have been devastated just because Trump wants to help Netanyahu play emperor of his region. Hundreds of Iranian families have also been destroyed for the same reason. Thousands more to come, unforgivable. I would say, before I let you respond, that in relation to what Aaron said, we still don't know for sure what happened with the girls' school. And I think until we know for sure, then we should at least preface it by saying we don't know yet for sure. Because there are counter arguments about how that may have happened. But
now, see, that's one thing that Piers does right there that annoys the shit out of me. He didn't once interrupt Emily when she was spewing lies about how Iran is the biggest expansionist nation over there, knowing full well everything Israel's done. He never interrupted her or pushed back, not let her talk and spew her propaganda. But right away, he comes out, oh, well, we can't say, we can't really be talking about the school slaughter because we just don't know, we don't have the facts. Which by this point, there was already considerable amount of reporting that was pointing strongly to the fact that it was Israel and the United States that bombed that school in Iran, killing 180 people. And what he could have done is let them say what they were going to say, which was there is reporting that strongly points to. But no, right away, he's got to come out and defend them. Right away, he's got to come out and defend them. So here you go, Piers. And thank you to Drop Site News reporting this out today. Breaking, U.S.-Israel missiles have hit an elementary school in Tehran, the fourth school in 6 days. So keep pushing back on this narrative. Oh, we don't know if it was really them. Here you go. Not just one, but 6 schools. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Bagahi shared video that shows she had Hamadani Elementary School before and after the strike. A casualty toll was not immediately available. It is the fourth school hit in Iran since the war began. A girls' school in Manab, that was the very first day, 180 children killed. 2 schools in Paran, southwest of Tehran, hit by missiles Thursday, according to Iranian media. Photos confirmed damage. And then another Shahid Hamadani School, Tehran. The news strike reported today, Friday. This is why Piers gets on my nerves. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at Omar Badar's response to the propagandist Zionist, Emily. Here we go.
Omar, your response to what Emily said there.
Sure. I mean, I'll address a couple of things. On that note, I think that's absolutely important, just to put things in perspective, of the fact that at this point, 6 Americans have been killed, and they did not die honorable deaths defending their own nation or homeland. Their lives were wasted by Donald Trump because he is fighting this war of choice, this illegal act of aggression, in order to help his buddy Netanyahu, who is, by the way, a wanted war criminal, wanted by the International Criminal Court, to help him play Emperor of the Middle East. That's what American lives are being wasted for. And frankly, when it comes to the school as well, all available evidence right now points to the fact that this was a strike either by the United States or Israel. There's been multiple investigations, including by Al Jazeera on it, that I think is worth checking out. So we're dealing with a reality where right now, more than 1,000 Iranians have been killed, their lives completely destroyed, where you have these girls in that school will never grow up to become teenagers, and their parents will never see them again. And for what? In order for Netanyahu to play Emperor of the Middle East. That is what we're fighting for. And there are endless lives that are going to be taken in the near future, not just in Iran, but in neighboring Arab countries and in Israel and American troops. This war is a moral abomination, and there's no way to defend it. And I just have to comment on the chutzpah that Emily just displayed, talking about Iran as an expansionist country at a time when Israel is illegally occupying the Palestinian territories, the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, illegally occupying a massive part of Syria that has expanded since the Syrian government has fallen, even though the new government is bending over backwards telling Israel that they're going to protect them and do whatever they want, and occupying parts of South Lebanon, refusing to end them. Israel is literally physically expanding on the ground in contravention to international law, and they are the dominant, most significant terrorist regime in the entire region. And just on that note...
And he nails it there. They are the most dominant terrorist regime in the area, in the world, I would argue. But thank you, Omar. And thank you for people that are pushing back on so much of this propaganda, because I mean, we are just inundated with people pushing for the continuation of this war, pushing to continue to slaughter innocent people, just like they've done in Gaza. And we need these voices out there to help us understand what's really going on, because if you don't hear those, you only hear that one side. So I appreciate anybody that listened today. There is a lot of new reporting out about the religious aspect. Like I said, either later tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to try to put together a short video showing some of that reporting so that people are getting a full picture. And please subscribe. Thank you again for listening. And please keep questioning illegitimate authority. And hang in there, everybody. There are good parts to the human race, not only these horrible, evil parts we constantly see at the top. Thanks again.